Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet. Lakers driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. I'm Chris McGee, Derek Fisher, Big Game James Worthy, Mike Bresnahan, Allie Clifton will be joining us in a little bit. We got Mike Trudell covering the postgame out in Minnesota. Lakers lose to the T-Wolves, and for just the third time in franchise history, the Los Angeles Lakers start 0-5. Kind of a tough way to get things going here to start off the 2022-23 season. No AD. And another game where they are right there to win. Big game. Just don't get it done.
You know,
execution-wise.
0-4, you're desperate for a win. You're going there without one of your bigger guns, AD. Still played fairly well. You know, it was a winnable game, in my opinion. I mean, the one thing that cost them was the 25 points that they gave up off the turnovers. 22 turnovers, not being able to, take advantage of the moments when they were down maybe 2 or 3, or maybe had a lead 2 or 3 points, and not being able to execute by turning it over just cost them, big time. I thought, from a team point of view, they played fairly well. The bench came in and scored and held up and sustained, but turnovers and, the inability to make stops, too, down. Gobert is a big problem in the paint. That was the game to me, the turnovers mostly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're turning the basketball over, which we touched on at halftime, I think 11 at the half, 11 more in the second half, it's just a recipe for disaster. And I don't know, what the stats will show in NBA history on the road. If you turn the ball over 20-plus times, your winning percentage is probably going to be pretty low. Yeah. Some of that, though, is like great offensive efficiency comes from a level of continuity and connection as a team, which is difficult to have continuity when one of your best players is out. Different starting lineups. Russ coming in off the bench. Troy Brown Jr. being in the lineup. Dennis Schroeder's out. All of these things that it makes it impossible really for the team to develop the continuity, connection, so that some of those turnovers that come from just understanding where each other is going to be, how you like to receive the basketball, who can catch what passes, those are difficult things early in the season with new guys. With all of those things being said, it's the NBA, and you still have to figure out a way to win. There have been a number of games that they could have won so far, and just continue to come up short. But they can't give up on who they are and where they're trying to go.
Guys, I'm going to predict what Darvin Ham is going to say in a few minutes. I like the effort. I like the enthusiasm. As D-Fish, as you indicated, a lot of moving parts in this Laker lineup. Russ off the bench, I thought was interesting. He didn't shoot real well, probably had a few too many turnovers, but I have a feeling he's going to start coming off the bench for a while now, because there was just enough there to see the old Russ kind of being that blurry figure, scrambling up and down the court. I think that's where he's best on this team. But just such a struggle to score points. Mm-hmm. They're dead last in the NBA at 102.3 points a game. What they scored tonight, 102. So just kind of a little bit of the same movie with some different characters in it tonight. I like the effort. If I'm the Lakers, they're finally shooting threes better. Guys, they got over 30% for the first time this season, but just couldn't quite get enough points against a solid Minnesota team.
Yeah, I've said this before, too, guys. You don't want to be dead last in this, especially when it's a negative stat, 3-point percentage, overall points. And then we talked about the 0-5 start and how many times that's happened in franchise history. You'll see right here, it's only the third time that it's ever happened. So this is, unfamiliar territory. It happened in 57-58. They started 0-7. In 2014-15, they started 0-5. In 2015-16, they started 0-4. So we've seen over the last 8-9 seasons, there have been some difficult times. Three-point shooting has been a big one. Best of the year, actually, still only 31%, but you see the trend of less threes. They were 9 for 29. They were still minus 12 in that category. But big game, I think you hit it on the head. When you go on the road, and Fish even said, I don't know what the percentages are, but when you're going to turn that ball over 22 times and it's going to lead to 25 points, 22 fast break points, it's tough to win on the road.
Yeah.
Because they did a lot of good things also.
Yeah, but anywhere, home or away, but particularly on the road, when you're giving the crowd and the home team energy and momentum, it's hard to recapture those moments. But yeah, I mean, this is a team that, like Brad said, the inability to score and take care of the basketball is, that's an ingredient that's going to make your cake taste a little nasty. You know what I mean? So, they just, for a while there in the second quarter, the ball was moving. LeBron was out of the game, had some new faces in there. It was moving pretty good. They were getting some opportunities, but, not being able to take care of the basketball and, like we said, not being able to execute to get buckets when you need them in those last 3 minutes when the game was still there for a win. Just, not there tonight.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to lead you to this, Fish, because I think when you lose these kinds of games and you're 0-5 and you're looking at last few possessions or you're looking at, moments in the game, as James just talked about, the spotlight is on that. I had written this down when we were watching the game. It was 83-80 with just under 10 minutes to play, and the Lakers got themselves back in that game, and they were playing well, and there was an up and down pace going on, and there were 3 opportunities for the Lakers. Yep. A couple missed layups, a couple of missed threes. T-Wolves end up hitting the 3. It goes to 86-80. James, we call timeout. Lakers come out, miss a 3, Fish, and then it's another bucket. Now it's 88-80. And I know that's just a short minute 30, Fish, but it just kind of symbolizes where they are this year.
Yeah, it really does. The margin for error is really small early in this season. When you are struggling to score the basketball, if you miss an opportunity to score at the rim or a pass gets bobbled and it just throws off the timing, not clicking at the moment. Usually, though, and I don't want to say usually, a lot of times in sports and just in general in life, like the breakthrough to success is oftentimes right on the other side of that hardest moment. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, are you willing to endure and push through to get to the other side, or are you going to give in to the adversity, the struggle, the difficulties? They've come out each night and fought and competed pretty hard. Like, they've been tied at the half twice on the road, and it's just that little margin for error. Like you said, a minute here, 47 seconds, a few possessions, but that's always been the margin between winning and losing, and so it just, hopefully it's increasing the appreciation for it.
Yeah, possessions are critical. Possessions are critical. The Lakers, they want to have a concept where they're attacking, moving and attacking, but there are moments in the game when you're tied or when it's close, when you really got to soak that possession to make sure you're getting a really good shot. If there's, you make it work. You really got to go to your bread and butter. And, I know you're in attack mode, but down the stretch, you get ready to soak those possessions up and get the shot that you really want.
Perez, I'm a firm believer, especially in sports, that you can really find out about a team individually as a unit when you're faced with adversity.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not easy, especially in 2022. It's much easier to fracture because of the outside noise, because of all the opinions. But this is where they have to kind of stay together, right? It's 0-5. It's brutal. It's going to be all over social media, fans from everywhere. But it's still, 77 games left in the season.
Yeah, you really got to block out that noise right now, no doubt about it. And the good news for the Lakers, they get to come home after this brief 2-game road trip. The bad news is there are no Orlandos or Sacramentos or even Houstons on that schedule. They go right into Denver again, who just beat them a couple games ago, New Orleans. They play Utah twice, and Cleveland as well, and then the Clippers. So if you look at their next 2 games, they're at home for a lot of those games. I think they go to Utah for one of those games. That's the only time where they're not playing at Crypto.com Arena. Schedule not doing any favors, guys. They got to push through it, no doubt.
All right, let's get you to the highlights. Damian Jones getting the start. No Anthony Davis. Russ coming off the bench. He missed the last game. Early in the first, it's Lonnie Walker the fourth finding LeBron for the 3.
Welcome back to Helpful Honda assist of the game. Austin Reeves off his own miss with that behind the back zinger there, Fish, to win you.
Yeah, that was very helpful from Austin there. He was just hanging out and didn't get a chance to get that offensive rebound, but Austin dropped it off to him. Good pass.
So smooth. The Lakers fall by 9 in Minnesota. Head coach Darvin Ham is now speaking with Mike Trudell in the media.
Darvin, there were several times where you guys got down by 9 or 10 and seemed to close and not quite able to get over the hump. What did you think the difference was in Minnesota being able to pull away eventually?
I mean, the biggest thing for me is the most glaring stat are the turnovers. It's the turnovers. We give them, 22 turnovers to 25 points. It's very hard to win in this league when that's the case. We have to do a better job of valuing possessions. And, it's not an exact science. It's you damned if you do, damned if you don't almost, because you get a stop, you push in a break, there's a mishandled ball or something happens, and then you're kicking yourself in the butt like you should have slowed it down. But all in all, I felt like most of them were competitive turnovers. It disappoints me, but I'm not frustrated. I thought today was a good day. We had a great film session this morning. Looked at a lot of things, offense included, in terms of setting better screens, creating an advantage through screening and our running habits and hard cuts and whatnot. Just playing purposeful basketball, and I thought we did that tonight for the most part. It just sucks to turn the ball over that many times, and for them, they're a good team, they're a playoff team, so they're definitely going to capitalize if you give them the opportunity.
Offensively, Troy hit 4 threes and being inserted into the starting lineup. I just wondered what you thought of that and juxtaposed with Russ coming off the bench, and what you thought of the flow there.
Nah, I thought Troy did an excellent job, and also got some big defensive rebounds. Had a presence, a physical presence there, guarding, getting rebounds, spacing the floor, making shots. And Russ, my hat's off to him once again, came off and showed the type of impact he can have in that reserve role, and shoring up our bench, and not just coming in and trying to maintain anything, but coming in and taking it up a notch. So he was great in that role tonight, and I look forward to seeing him in it more once we start getting healthy bodies back, get AD back out there, get Dennis out there. It's been like a multiple choice thing, trying to figure out a rotation in terms of who's healthy and who's not healthy. So once we get whole, we'll definitely, hopefully, be closing out some of these games on the right side of the win and loss column.
Darvin, kind of following up on that, did you think the way that Russ, especially during that bench shift, carried over to some moments, especially at the end of the first half, was playing with LeBron?
Yes, absolutely. Because once the rhythm of the game is set, you guys going to figure it out. Like, we went small towards the end of the game, and, I thought that's another lineup that I'm going to pay close attention to and take good looks at, with Bron at the 5-some. So having Russ cross-max with the opposing team's bigs is something I'm going to look at. So, no, it was a great rhythm to the game tonight. It just sucks that, wish we could have some of those turnovers back, turn them into field goal attempts.
Darvin, obviously no AD tonight, and you haven't had Thomas Bryant now for a bit. Was that the reason? Like, had you had those guys, do you think you ever go with a lineup like that you tried late with Minnesota still having their bigs on the court?
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me. Absolutely. I mean, you use everything that's available to you within your roster. So it's not, one of those things where it's okay, you have big guys available. Why not play a big guy? No, it's a strategic type of deal. And you have guys that's in a really good rhythm together, that's having great individual games, and you try to put those collections of players together to see if that rhythm can carry over to a unit. And I thought that was the case for big chunks of the game tonight. We kept it, we stayed in the game basically the entire game. It was sometimes they got a little bit of distance, but for the most part, we fought and just came up a little bit short. But it's 5 games in. It sucks to be 0-5, but having 77 left, and then plenty of days to get better in between. We're just going to try to keep our heads down and keep our foot to the pedal and continuously try to get better. Get better at something every day.
All right, guys, I do want to focus on the T-Wolves for just a moment. Anthony Edwards, a young star in this league, becoming a closer, 2 Fish. He was tough, especially at that third quarter, because he struggled in the first half. 16 and third, he's that guy for them, you know?
Yeah, he's
so
dynamic with the basketball. I mean, it's gone from D'Angelo Russell being the primary ball handler and decision maker, in particular in the second half and when they need baskets, to Anthony Edwards. And then now, when you combine Rudy Gobert's offensive rebounding prowess, with the playmaking of Edwards, his ability to finish, D'Angelo Russell's ability to make some plays, this is a really interesting team. But Anthony Edwards is quickly becoming, Minnesota's most dynamic player.
Yep.
And, if they continue to win at this clip, he has a legitimate chance to be on an all-star team really soon.
Under control. He understands his body, really strong up top, and really has the strength to be under control until he's ready to explode. He and Donovan Mitchell remind me a little bit of each other in strength, being able to a variety of shots, and having the confidence to take over the game when they have to. So, yeah, he's on the rise.
All right, guys, more to come on Access. Brody with 18 points and 8 rebounds off the bench. Lakers fall to the T-Wolves 111-102. We'll hear from Russ and LeBron. Back soreness.
Yeah, what's funny? If you look at almost every one of the Laker games, you could find some way they would have won. Hey, if only this person had not shot the ball and passed it instead. If only they made a couple more threes. Tonight it was, if only AD had played. He's averaging 24 points, almost 10 rebounds a game, tons of blocks and steals, but he was not there and they lost, and that's the end of that. What's in store for him? I think he's working with a couple different back issues, guys. Remember a few weeks ago he said it kind of tightened up in the team's drive down to the casino for that public appearance down there. And then he took the hard fall against Kawhi, and then he got that light push from Jokic the other night in Denver. So, Darvin Ham did say before the game he hopes that indeed AD can play Sunday. It's not an early game like last weekend. It's a 6:30 start, so maybe he's back and ready to go then. But if he plays tonight, perhaps a different story. I feel like we've said that in almost every game so far. If this happened, they could have won. It's just, it hasn't happened.
And as Brez mentioned earlier, it's not going to get any easier. I mean, the schedule, yes, they do come home, big game and Fish, but you have Denver waiting for you again. Then you have the Pelicans coming into town, the Cavs, the Jazz, and it's just going to continue to get tough. So you hope AD flies home, can get the treatment, and is back in this lineup because they desperately need him.
I mean, his absence is noticeable immediately. And him on the floor, it gives you a chance to win. It makes your continuity a lot better for the rest of the players to get better shots when he's getting double teams and things of that nature. But the back is, it's a finicky, injury. Honestly, I don't mind the schedule. You know what? Give it to me. Gonna keep them focused and keep them in tune. I don't care about the schedule. I just care about how they're playing right now and, getting guys healthy on the floor again. You can't hide from teams. They've had some winnable games, this year. Hang on that. Don't turn the ball over. Play your game. The defense is good. Bring on the schedule.
Those Utah games are suddenly tricky. They were supposed to be gimmies a few weeks ago.
No gimmies.
Jazz playing okay.
All right, still to come on Access. Wenyen Gabriel got some extended run tonight, 8 points for Wenyen. We'll have more post-game reaction coming right up. That's here, 111-102. The T-Wolves go to 4-2. The Lakers 0-5. The Lakers go 9 for 29 from 3. The T-Wolves 13 of 40. 22 turnovers for the Lakers turned into 25 points. LeBron led the Lakers with 28. He's speaking with Mike in the locker room.
LeBron, Darvin cited the turnovers to start for the team. It's another new starting lineup, a team which kind of happened a lot last year, right? AD was out. Russ moves to the second unit. How do you try and lead guys into some form of cohesion in those kind of situations, and how key was that tonight?
Well, I mean, obviously it's a fine line between, unforced turnovers and turnovers as you're just being aggressive and trying to make plays happen. So, we had some, that's quite a few unforced turnovers. Some of the aggressive ones I can be okay with, but we just got to do a better job of that.
You talked oftentimes about seeing it all in the league at this point, but it's an 0-5 start for various reasons. So what do you try to focus on as you try to get the team out of it?
Try to get better, continue to play winning basketball. I think our offense is just, is harming us right now. I think defensively, once again, we had a great game plan. We went out and competed, gave ourselves a chance. A couple possessions here, a couple possessions there, didn't go our way, but just keep hammering home.
What was it like for you to see Darvin go with that closing lineup, considering Minnesota's size? Like, does that give you? Troy Brown said gave him confidence that Darvin would, kind of go with something like that that's maybe out of the box a little bit.
We're just trying to find what works right now. To be honest, it doesn't matter who's out on the floor. We're just trying to find what works, what can give us the best chance to win a ball game. So I think that's what Coach went with, and we was all. Everybody who's on the floor was just ready.
Darvin praised Russ's effort off the bench. Said, really, it was a fantastic game from him.
Yeah.
What did you see out of Russ today?
It was great.
LeBron, did that energy that he had directing that bench unit, did that carry over, especially when you think about the end of the game?
He was great. And it definitely catapulted to us. He was great all game.
LeBron, do you feel 0-5 weighing on the energy in this room at all? Or?
Yes. I mean, after the game it is. It's human nature. I mean, obviously after the game. But, earlier today we came in with great energy. We had great energy during shoot-around. We had great energy throughout the game. But after the game, none of us want to lose. So, yeah, the energy is down.
Like cumulative sort of build, you don't think, from sort of day-to-day with it?
No.
Do you feel for AD, considering he's had the injuries the last couple of years, he really made a vow to want to be in the lineup as much as possible this year?
Of course.
And he has this.
Of course. You guys know how I feel about AD, so of course.
So, how can he manage that?
He has to do what's best for his body. Do what's best for his body and his mind. When his mind is gone, then everything else will fall to the wayside. So, he has to trust himself. He has to, yes, he wants to play every game. Yes, he wants to be out there for our team, but he's had a lot of bumps and bruises over the last few years. So he has to trust himself, trust his staff, and not put his body in harm's way.